What is up, guys? It's your friendly neighborhood Bullseye, and today I'm going to go in depth and a little more into No Man's Sky, and we're going to talk about some tips and tricks, things I think might help you along if you might be struggling in the game, thinking about starting out the game, or you just want to know some additional info. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say like how you should approach the game. I'm going to say what, kind of let you know what I've done, what's working for me, and what I think might be a little easier as you're starting out. But each person's going to play differently. You might want to spend all your time going planet to planet, searching everything about the planet, and going back and forth between space stations or whatnot, and that's fine. But let's get into this right now. Now, first of all, of course, one thing is going to be, besides the whole resource and survival thing, is you are going to need money to do things. One thing that inspired me to do this particular video is a buddy of mine was having trouble actually making money, and I haven't necessarily had trouble doing so. So one thing I'll say is, after you finish the initial, getting your shit, getting off that first planet, and you start going off into space and searching things, as you see here, I'm mining copper, and see, that's one of the ways that you get the first bits of money, is finding either copper, aluminum, gold, those kind of light green resources that will sell very well at a space station or even on the planet. You'll see in the video, I'm just going to basically have different things playing in the background as I talk, but you'll come across little shelters that'll actually have a galactic mode for a node, for selling off material. But also, where I am right now, those green boxes, a lot of times they will have items you can sell as you soon pop up. That's how I made my initial 100,000 credits, is actually just going from installation to installation, finding those items and selling them. That way I was able to upgrade some of my initial equipment. Basically you'll want to find a place that sells it, get those Gek charms or whatever else, and kind of go back and forth. And you can either do that by taking the ship with you, or just going on foot and hoofing it. And speaking of taking the ship with you, that's where I also want to kind of roll this into resource management. You'll learn pretty quickly what you need to use for what kind of item. What I mean is, take your shields, your personal shields. Those recharge very easily with plutonium. So does your some of your weapon parts that'll recharge with it, and yet some of those will recharge better with carbon. And you'll have to learn how that is. I'm not going to spoil it overall for you, but basically, if you use it efficiently, you'll use less of that resource. But you're looking at basically carbon, plutonium, and thamium. Now, once you get your initial bunch of thamium from the plants on the planets, I'd recommend not worrying about finding those plants anymore, because you get plenty of it in space. And thamium is pretty much only used for your propulsion system in space. When you press circle and hold down, or you press L1 and R1 to do that kind of mini warp. And the game is very forgiving with that, so you don't have to go through a lot of it. And as you just saw there, I found this installation right here, which was awesome. Had a node in it, and I could sell. And this particular place, I believe, is actually the planet where I was able to farm up 4 million credits extremely easily, because there were these sacks called venom sacks, and I was able to go out, get a couple, fight some sentinels that spawned, and rinse and repeat just over and over again. Now, of course, this right here, this is where you'll upgrade your backpack, and that's where I kind of go into earning those first couple, 100,000 credits, because the first upgrade is free, and then it's 10,000 each time. And that's one thing I've always kind of searched out, is these backpacks, so that you can upgrade and have that more equipment space, aside from just buying the ship. And right here we have a cool little loading screen, if you will, for warping to another system. So yeah, you're gonna want to find those crates for the green items and sell all your gold and all initially to earn your beginning credits until you find a good planet for farming. and everybody's might be different because there's so much variety. So I don't know when you're going to find it. I found 2 planets that had those venom sacs I was talking about. I was able to stack up on those and just keep selling those and made a lot of money. But if you don't get that, then the items and the gold are going to be your way to go. Now we're going to talk about progression a little bit. I haven't been spending a whole lot of time on the planets. I will usually find a few monoliths and kind of go get some resources and go planet to planet because there's so much to do. That's just the kind of play style that's working for me. Now, from what I can tell, the progression in the game comes down to you can either just focus on traveling to the center of the universe, or you can basically follow this quest line that deals with the Korvax and the Atlas stations. The reason I've been following the Atlas stations, and one thing I've really liked about it is it's still helping me get to the center, but I'm finding a lot of recipes. I'm finding a lot of the nodes to unlock the language, and I've also seen here, like you see this guy here, a life form agrees to help. I figured out there's actually a whole, basically, with the different species and aliens, there is an actual system with them where you earn reputation, and as you get better and higher with them, you'll meet different aliens and you can pass these skill checks, if you will, and they'll give you different things or talk to you about different things and help you understand their language more. And it's actually pretty cool. One of the reasons the Atlas is very intriguing to me is because and I'm sure you can do this a different way, but in a fairly quick manner, I actually got the Atlas V1 pass, which you'll see in all these installations and different places. You'll always come across these doors. You can't open them without it. And when I've got into it, you're just getting basically a lot better materials and recipes as you're opening it. And another cool thing about it is once you get to that point where you have the Atlas V1 pass, every space station you come to in a new system, when you get in there and you're coming in, so they'll think of it after you land and your spaceship turns around to where it's facing the exit, the left door, you'll always go up and have an alien you can talk to, and he might have a little question, and you have to learn, you have to get the question right and increase your reputation, and the door on the right will be locked. But once you get that V1 pass, you can go in that door on the right, and there will always be a backpack upgrade from what I can tell. I don't know what'll happen to the backpack upgrades after it maxes out when you find them, if it just is inoperable or it gives you a different resource, but right now I have it maxed mine out, and it's been very beneficial to find those. And again, it goes up by 10,000 each time, so after a while you're going to want to make sure you mine it. And of course, as you see here, the combat in the game is not too difficult, kind of standard first-person shooter. There's basically, this game kind of comes down to muscling through things. I've noticed that. I've tried different variations of dodging and strafe dodging and all this. And every now and then you can dodge their attacks, but overall you're not really ever fast enough to do so. You know, maybe with some jetpack upgrades you might be able to, but I found it's easier to just go ahead, stick to your ground and muscle through it. Now right here at this installation I'm kind of damaging the door a little bit and fighting them, and I found out it's easier just to go straight through. Just sit there, take the hits, bust that door down, because actually once you get inside, the sentinels will despawn, essentially. They'll deactivate. I don't know if that's a glitch, but it's a little survival tactic right now that once you get in there, they will deactivate. You see that they're not attacking anymore. And you can use that to your benefit while you're playing the game. Okay? Alright. Now here we have the basically the monoliths that are on the planet, and this is what I was talking about following the Atlas path. What I like to do, those little nodes that have the orange beam going straight into the sky, you'll have to make a chip for that. You have the recipe for that off the get-go, which to make recipes in your inventory, you just go to a slot, an open slot, and hold square, of course, and you use it. Now it'll tell you it can find transmissions, monoliths, shelters, so forth. I find it easier just to go for the monoliths, okay? And the reason why is I have not had a planet yet where when I was going towards the monolith, I didn't already find shelters, transmissions, and so forth. So instead of having to keep going and finding those or going back to the same one and reusing over and over again, I found it easier just to go to the monolith, find the stuff en route. The monoliths are going to give you various things. Sometimes it'll just be a bunch of different words to learn. Sometimes it'll be a very good selling item worth, 30, 40, 50, 60,000 credits. And sometimes it'll give you a warp cell. So they're very beneficial to seek out. And a lot of times eventually they'll start giving you points in space that when you can warp, when you have the warp cells and you're going, that's where it'll start to delineate to, okay, you can travel to the center of the universe, or here's this path to an Atlas station. And the Atlas stations are where you can really find some cool stuff. They will that'll be coming up soon, and you'll see you can find, they'll give you 2 warp cells usually per thing, and you'll also learn a bunch of new words, and it's pretty cool. It's going to come up in this video in a minute. And right here I just wanted to show you this. I kind of like it. I think it's pretty. This is what it looks like when you're doing your star system pulse jump, called like the mini warp. It looks pretty cool, so you can enjoy that. And of course we're going towards an undiscovered planet, and that kind of sidebar, that is a really fun part of this game. By the way, this space station looks like a Pokeball. Just thought I'd point that out. Really fun part of the game that I haven't covered yet is, of course, that you can rename your system. You can rename your animals and the plants you find. It's pretty fun. I might go through a video of some of the things I've named before and whatnot, but that's sort of like an individual fun that you really get to do. So right here was the first Atlas station that I found. And of course it'll still have a space station in the area. Sometimes you'll warp in, you're getting attacked, all this other kind of stuff, but it's basically the image that you see, the cover art for the game has the red eye. And the cool thing about it, I've only been to 2 so far in my travels, but so far each one had like a different, see, this one's this red pulsing ball, and then the other one I found was like almost like this black hole looking thing. I don't know if each one is different, but I have a feeling it's actually related to species, and I think I've only found 3 species so far. The Korvax, which are like the robot type and somehow very closely linked to the Atlas. These little bitty guys that are like frog people that are called the Gex, and I can't remember what they're called. The third one was, but they look almost like a walking, not gonna say walrus, but about as close to that. So when you get here, yeah, you see these little lights on the ground. You want to walk over each one. Sometimes you'll get nothing. Sometimes you'll get an item. The second one, everyone I went over gave me a new word for the Gex. So you want to make sure that you walk over each of these, and I think it actually is necessary to unlock the 2 warp cells that it gives you at the nodes. So you go up here, you'll get your 2 warp cells. It'll give you a little spiel about some cryptic message about what you're doing, and then it's also going to pop an Atlas stone into your inventory, which you'll see here. Now the Atlas stones, the one I had, I couldn't help it. It was sold for like 65,000 units, so I did sell mine. But I just have a feeling if they're going to be needed in the long run. I don't know for what. I don't know if they stack. So that could be a problem, if because inventory space is of course a premium. But you get one at each Atlas station. Now one thing I did forget to record that I found one time, as I was going along my travels, to Atlas stations. I got to one system, Anomaly, and it was basically like a mini space station that had a Corvax and another alien in it. And speaking to the Corvax, I got to have a little conversation with it. It had options that I could do if I wanted to find a black hole, if I wanted to find another Atlas station, or if it wanted a recipe for my travels. And you get to choose that. I recommend saving your game. And speaking of saving your game, this is one thing I want to point out right now before I forget in this video. A little glitch that you haven't seen in here, but for whatever reason, I have found that there's a high chance that when you're warping to another system, your game will crash. So make sure before you warp, you either go to a space station or go to a planet, get in your ship and hop out so that it saves your progress, because it's very annoying when you warp several systems and then it crashes or whatever, because trying to jump system to system is not very beneficial because your game might eventually crash. Don't know why it does it. Hopefully they'll fix it soon. And so yeah, there was that anomaly, and it was pretty cool because I got some very good items out of it. And that's actually the space station that was considered a quote-unquote anomaly was also where I found the Atlas V1 TAS. So if you guys can think of anything else that might help, any other tips and tricks, please let me know. Let me know what you think of the video, and let me know what you, if you do like this game, you want to see more of it. There's plenty of else to do in it. I'm going to try to do some streaming for it this weekend, just kind of show my travels, show what I'm naming things. Anyway, hope you guys are enjoying everything else. Playing let me know what you guys are out there playing also, and of course what you want to see. Like and subscribe. Hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching.